the core have a strange history with storylines. It always seems like the core universe tries to keep things in canon, only to have it dropped in the next series. Trent Tanner, aka Decoder or Slash from New Recruits. He has the same last name as Tony Tanner from the Core, International Security Force. Then having Decoder dropped after Total Soldier. Also, Decoder's original name, Slash, being used on the Super Soldier Slash. Both could be the same character, but at the same time they're not. Kenji from the Core Super Soldiers and Kenji Shinto, aka Rain, having the same first name, but not really being the same person. Hiro Yamada and Hiro Nakamura, aka Ghost, once again having the same first name. Could they be the same person? Plague and Plague, formerly known as Shadow. Seriously, are there only a limited number of names in the world to Leonard? Vulture and Condor's first release and their backstory in the New Recruits, but then dropping Vulture after the New Recruits. These are only a few examples that we've seen that try to capture something from a previous line. In trying to make the toy line coherent, the Core released a comic book, or some comics. Today, we're going to look at The Core, number 0, by Devil's Due Publishing. The first form of story that we got from the Core was the Core International Security Force Dossier files. This was back in 1986 when the Core was originally called Gung Ho. Now obviously they couldn't use that name because of a certain Joe, so they were later renamed to the Core. These dossiers were used in the blue cards and yellow cards, and they gave us background on each of the characters and how they act. After a while, all the dossiers were dropped. Now don't get me wrong, they would pop up from time to time with the O-Ring figures, but they weren't as prominent as they were with G.I. Joe: A Real American Hero. The Core went through Commando Force and Special Forces, with nothing really to back up the figures. Then the New Recruits hit. They had biotags, and Leonard even had one comic released. The Core number 0 by Devil's Due Publishing. This was released in October of 2008. This was written by Rick Remender, who had written for the Uncanny X-Force, Secret Avengers, Agent Venom, The Punisher, and Deadly Class, which was adapted into a sci-fi show in January of 2009. I actually got to see the premiere of this episode while I was in the hospital when I was treated for H1N1. The comic was illustrated by Michael Pennock. He worked on Insurrection, One, Recovery Incorporated, and America's Army. Michael Pennock has a Patreon. And I noticed something. His $2 tier is the Enchanted Push Knife tier. This knife would also appear in the Core comic. I know, a push knife can be bought anywhere online, but I don't know many people who would choose a push knife over any other knife. It's kind of a weird decision. Okay, back to the comic. Whenever someone asks, "Where can I get the comic? Where can I buy the comic? How many issues were released?" There is always radio silence. It's the strangest thing. It's only been recently that people have been talking about this, and the book has been out for 11 years, at least as of this recording. Before interest in the comic, the only place to have anything on it was the website comicalliance.com. This review is from a person who might have heard of the Corps, but not really a fan. So understandably, there's a lot of things missing in the review. So I said screw it and searched to see if any were available for sale, and I got mine from mycomicshop.com for a whopping $1 bill plus shipping. So, here's the first Corps comic book. Governments around the world need to be able to order covert operations while maintaining deniability. Enter the Corps, a privately owned, highly trained team employing the very best operatives from every corner of the globe and able to accomplish these very delicate assignments for the right price. So what, now to the A-team? Give me a break. Rio de Janeiro, translated from Portuguese. It's always tainted by an agenda. Perhaps I don't care as long as I get my money. What the?
Please, you must help me. They kidnapped me. They were animals. The unspeakable things they did.
Hands where we can see them.
You got it.
Rookies, they should have shot you on sight.
The result would have been the same. Do you have my clothes, Ravage?
Go easy on the tag calls. There's a reason we have specific handles now. In-house code names could come back. Could point to our team.
Yes, because Ravage is such an imaginative sobriquet. There couldn't possibly be another operative in the Black Stream using it.
That's the kind of sloppiness that got your first team taken out of the stream.
Sloppiness? Like ordering me to run out here half naked? There are dozens of ways to have done this that left me wholly dressed.
If a man can't enjoy his work, what's the point?
Tell the boys they could come out. You weren't sneaking a peek, were you, Plague?
I sort of thought gaining intel perspective was one of, the points of the mission. I don't need to remind you of the importance of the mission. Cut the cutesy crap. We're here to save a hero.
Stood up to the ungodly Colombian drug cartels. We do whatever it takes to get him and his wife the hell out of there.
For like 2 seconds, you almost sounded noble.
What the? Is that?
I believe the word is poison. Fast-acting stuff, ain't it? Me old dad's recipe.
This is unnecessary, Raphael. I find it morbid. We will survive this.
Then consider it a matter of practicality. I should have finished my will when I first resolved to fight the cartels. The perimeter has been breached. Mercenaries, rear entrance. Okay, this is it. The play we've been waiting for. Why is it the bad guys are always so stupid? Hits the floor. Now, you tell me, your original corpse of losers ever clear a zone with such precision?
Shut up, Vulture. It's okay. We're going to get you out of here.
Get us out of here? Step away from the mayor or I'll...
Did he just call you the mayor?
I knew knew there would be no escaping the cartels, but please spare my wife.
Spare? No. We're here to save you from the cartel.
Which one of you called clear?
This is all wrong. We weren't hired by his family. We've been set up.
No, dear.
There was simply a higher bidder.
No! Please, God, no!
Dusk, in honor of your time with us, we'll kill you with bullets. We'll kill you with bullets. We'll kill you with bullets.
You son of a bitch.
We know you've been snooping, Dusk. Knowledge can be such a dangerous thing. Continued in the Core, issue number 1, this December.
I never saw the Core as somebody that would fight for money. I thought they were fighting for freedom. Wherever there's trouble, the Core is there. Okay, but seriously, I don't like the way that this makes the Core sound already. The comic is only 8 pages. After the 8 pages, we get a teaser.
The Core is a high-tension, high-stakes shotgun blast of adventure. This 6-issue miniseries merges the intrigue of Mission Impossible, the ugly wartime realism of Band of Brothers, and the high adventure of a 007 film into one delicious blend. With nothing less than the fate of the world on the line. In the world of espionage, no one is beyond suspicion. No one is to be trusted. Be there when the intrigue begins. The Core, Issue 1, December 2008.
6-issue miniseries? Issue 1 in December 2008? After the teaser, there's some cover sketches by Tony Chastain, who worked on Star Trek. He was also the guy who did the cover. Next up are layouts by Michael Pennock. This is where we can get into the mind of the artist. You can tell that the Core is the first thing on his mind, with words like full bleed panel. Dusk shows herself looking scared and panicked. Oh, and sexy. Smiley face with a tongue sticking out. And close up on Dusk's tushy as she moves dress out of the way with hands, revealing throwing knives. Back shot off a little to show knives better. Oh, here's a good one. Dusk removes dress. Thong? Ravage checks his weapon. Okay, let's just do one more for fun. Full bleed panel. Sexy close up on Dusk as she throws knives. Now, I'm not opposed to these types of drawings. I tend to do them every now and then. But look at the way that he's presenting himself here. I mean, I don't make comments of my drawings like that. That's just really sleazy. Okay, to be fair, he does mention Plague twice, Vulture once, and Ravage like 11 times. I guess it's cool to see the sketches though. Moving right along, the last section is the concept covers by Tim Seeley, who has worked on Brilliant Trash, The Occultist, New Suicide Squad, and Hack and Slash. These concept covers are where things get interesting. The first cover has Ravage in the background, Sparks, Rucker, Ghost, Gills, and a mystery woman with a red cross.
It's been said that this is supposed to be Dusk, but I don't know. That doesn't really look like Dusk to me. And why the red cross? Does she go from being an assassin to being a doctor?
The second cover has who looks like Condor on a bio wing, Rucker fighting Ravage in the foreground, the mystery lady,
Or Dusk
fighting who I'm guessing is Vulture, and Ice fighting Nosferatu from Special Forces. Okay, so who's Dusk? Is Dusk pre-Puma Puma? Who's the mystery lady? What's Nosferatu doing here? Is Special Forces related in any other way to the new recruits? Did Leonard have plans to release another female figure? Did Leonard even say it was okay to make new figures? There's so many questions. After reading this, I can see why the comic didn't continue on. It was entirely about the bad guys and the eye candy Dusk. This toy line is for children, and what's the first thing in the comic? TNA. Heck, TNA is half the comic alone. Is this where the controversial cleavage Puma and Snakebite originated from? When we talk about the core and their direction, there's no way to avoid talking about G.I. Joe, a real American hero. I understand that in the core, they didn't want to introduce all the characters at once. But in the first issue of G.I. Joe, a real American hero, all of the members of G.I. Joe and Cobra at the time were introduced, and they did gangbusters. This comic just showed us the villains and some TNA and... oh, that's it. What happened to everyone? Where's Rucker? Rucker's the main guy. Why is Dusk the main character here? Puma and Snakebite were released 7 years later. Dusk calls out Vulture and he just looks like some dude. There were a ton of mistakes done in this toy comic. This really wouldn't appeal to children. This was the only comic ever released during the core New Recruits, and even though we would have loved to see more, for what it was supposed to be and what it was, it didn't even stand a chance. Now, of course, once we got into the core Elite, there were some comic pages on the website, but they just gave up on those quickly. The second page to the core and the Curse comic have been up on the core website for about 2 years and counting. There's also been some photos that have surfaced of new packaging along with a new logo for the core. The new packaging state that there's a mini comic to go along with these sets. It looks like the mini comic will be titled Time Crisis. I don't have Time Crisis at the moment, but I will be looking at it once I get my hands on it. Now, I'm not here to trash the core. If I didn't like the core or Leonard, why even bother making videos about them for so long? Why research the characters? In my opinion, it really feels like the big fish at Leonard don't really care about their property as much as they should. They have a real opportunity here. G.I. Joe has gone AWOL for the past few years, even ending JoeCon themselves. The core could have gone all the way in. They could have released new versions of all their characters, or even vintage packs, since that seems to be all the rage these days. How about making the toys widely available? The prices on the core is great, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about the prices. But how about they raise the price a little bit more and they keep a storyline going And we have some old characters reintroduced. Maybe have some characters exclusive to vehicles. The Core is a great toy line with lots of fans, and it seems like the heads of the company have lost touch with their customers. I hope you enjoyed this review of The Core number 0 by Devil's Due Publishing, and stay tuned for more Core reviews. Hey guys, you can check out some of my photos on Instagram under Raz Holly, and you can join the Raz Holly fan club absolutely free on my Facebook. It's under the Raz Holly fan club. Check it out. Thanks for watching.